on conjugation, Tim Ferriss put together 6 sentences that teach you the conjugation. Have you looked at these before? Have you looked at these before?
I actually have, yeah.
So you have the apple is red.
Mm-hmm.
It is John's apple. Then you have I give John the apple. We give him the apple.
Right, yeah.
He gives it to John and she gives it to him. So this is definitely a Tim Ferriss project. Like, he distilled down the language into these 6 sentences, and you use the same word, right? It's the same verb. It's basically the same noun. The verbiage changes a little bit, but it's either it is or we're giving it to somebody. And to give is an irregular verb in Spanish, right?
To give, yeah. I mean, I guess so.
I don't remember what the word is.
It's dar.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Dar. Doy, das, da. Damos, dais, dan.
I guess that's not that irregular.
It's not really that irregular, but I guess.
Not like hacer.
Right. Like hago.
Yeah. So with those 6 sentences, and you should give this a try. If you're working on a language already, see if you can go through it all. And if you can, I'd say you're probably like you're not a beginner anymore if you can do it off the top of your head.
Yeah.
There'll be like some grammar complexity, and you said grammar is a little bit more difficult. It's one thing to know the word apple, the color red, and someone's name, but it's him and her and we. And if you just go through Spanish, you go through all the conjugations there.
Yeah. And I think I did look at that at one point, and I still even use the one sentence that he has there. I can't remember what the whole sentence is, but I know that it had the phrase dárselo in it, which is give
it to him.
Exactly, give him it. And I still use that in my mind as like a check, because the object pronouns can get confusing, and sometimes I don't know which one comes first. Like, I don't have it intuitively. I can't just like all the time. Sometimes, yeah, but not all intuitively. And so I always just go back to that. I just say dárselo in my head, and then okay, like who I'm giving it to comes first, and then the thing comes second. Say is him, and lo is it. Dárselo.
Nice. That's where we got into Spanish 3, and that's kind of what lost me, but that's when you actually have real conversations. Because you don't only say, I want to give you the apple now, or like, I want to give the apple to Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's more conversational speech, which is more useful anyway, because then you don't even have to know the word. You just say, I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can kind of cheat out on it.
But those do get tricky. There's what I notice, and I'm sure everybody goes through this if they've tried to learn a language, but you get to a point where like sometimes you'll be in the zone, and like I'll be watching something on Netflix or listen to a podcast, and you'll get in the zone and you'll get everything. Like it'll just click. All of the grammatical constructions just make sense. You don't even have to think about them, that you just get it. And then there are other days where maybe I'm not paying attention as closely, or maybe I'm like thinking about something else in my mind that I'm stressed about or worried about or whatever. Yeah. And obviously when I'm doing that, I'm thinking in English the whole time. And so like, then there's other days where I'm watching something or listening to something where it seems like, I'm like, wait, I thought I've been studying Spanish, and now it doesn't seem like I get any of this. Like now I'm finally to the point where I always get at least some of it, but there are just some days that are just way better than others. And I think that's just part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point to make, because you want to be kind to yourself as you're going through it.
Yeah, it's just part of it. Like,
yeah.
If I throw on something, if I put a podcast in and I'm not paying attention to it at all, I won't know really what's going on. But if you think about it, that happens in English too. If you put a podcast
yes, it definitely does. But none of our audience knows anything about exactly, that. Right? Obviously, I'm talking to you. All right. Well, I don't want to drag this thing on too much, but at some point I'd love to talk about the DISS for learning, or DSSS. DSSS. Yeah. For learning anything, and language is just a good vehicle for learning, because it's really easy to break down and put into certain pieces. And start learning a language. It'll definitely make you smarter and create more neural pathways, and then your brain will be better.
Boom. I dig it.
Get smarter.
I'm a
Anything else about language, Ty? Anything you want us to take note of and come back to?
Yeah, last thing I'll say is the reasoning for learning a language for me um, is because I didn't really think of this consciously as I was deciding to do it, but upon reflecting, I kind of realized this is why. And I think there's a lot of, especially recently, like nationalism across the globe, and it's like it can be, you need some level of that to protect your country, but it can be very dangerous, I think, when it goes too far. And I think language learning was like my outlet in like my rebellion against nationalism. It's the opposite. It's internationalism, right?
Wow.
So I think maybe that was, if you're trying to extend an olive branch to somebody, learn how to speak their language.
I absolutely love that in a time when there's hostility and cancel culture everywhere and everyone's so quick to call people out. But I would appreciate it when someone is trying to speak to me in English and they aren't good at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it is hard to overcome the thought in your head that they're not stupid. They're just learning the language. And that's a knee-jerk reaction that happens so often.
It is a knee-jerk reaction, but I promise you, if you start learning a language, that goes away entirely. Like
Oh my gosh.
I
Right
don't
away.
I don't ever even have that thought anymore, like not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like genuinely just like, oh, this is cool. Okay. Like they're trying to speak English and hey, I can understand them. That's cool.